We've all seen those short, kind of weird AI video clips online. They're fun, for sure, but they're hardly cinema. But what if? What if you could take a truly epic, massive script and actually build an entire movie with AI? Not just a little clip, but a real cinematic saga. Now that is the real challenge. And today, we're going to map out the engine that could actually pull it off.
To really get the scale of the problem we're trying to solve, you have to understand the kind of story we're working with. This line right here, that's not a prompt for some 10-second video. It's a piece of a huge, sprawling saga that spans millions of years. This is the kind of massive creative vision we need to teach our AI, and you're about to see why today's tools just aren't built for that. Not even close.
And that really gets us to the core question, doesn't it? It's one thing to have a story about cosmic beings and 40-million-year-old prophecies. It is a whole other thing to get an AI to turn that vision into a movie that feels coherent, that feels compelling. So how do you actually bridge that massive gap between the page and the screen?
To figure that out, we're going to go on a little 5-act journey that pretty much mirrors the filmmaking process itself. We'll start with the script, we'll diagnose the main problem with AI storytelling, and then we'll build our solution piece by piece. First the director, then the editor, and finally, the sound and the final assembly.
Okay, first things first. Let's look at the raw material we're working with. The script is called Dystopia, and honestly, it's less of a normal screenplay and more like a cosmic history book. Understanding just how big this thing is, well, that's key to seeing why the AI tools we have now just can't handle it.
Just take a look at the timeline here. This is wild. We are not talking about a story that happens over a couple of days. We start 40 million years ago. We cover wars that terraform planets, a massive deception that creates humanity, and ancient prophecies about a final battle. So the challenge is, how do you possibly teach an AI to understand the sheer weight of all that history and put it into every single frame?
And that's the whole point, right? You can't just type a beast fights a titan into a text-to-video generator and expect it to somehow know about the 40 million years of lore that led up to that one moment. You need a system that gets narrative context on a totally different level.
Which brings us directly to the single biggest roadblock in AI cinema right now. The problem isn't really about making the pixels look real anymore. It's about making the story feel real. We have fallen right into the uncanny valley of storytelling.
This slide just illustrates the problem perfectly. On the left, you've got what most of the tools we use today do, shot-level generation. Every little clip is made all by itself. And what's the result? The visuals are all over the place, the rhythm feels totally flat, and a character might even look a little different from one shot to the next. What we need is what's on the right, scene-level generation, where the AI actually plans a whole sequence of shots together to create this continuous narrative flow that serves the story.
And look, this isn't just some theory. This is what actual users are saying about the tools they can get their hands on right now. They see the potential, cool stuff, opens up opportunities, but they immediately run into a brick wall with how it all comes together. It lacks realism, it feels too cartoonish, there's just this fundamental disconnect from what we all recognize as real cinema. So how do we fix this? Well, the first step is to stop treating the AI like an intern that just follows prompts and start teaching it to think like an actual director. We've got to give it an eye for cinema.
The key technology here is something called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG for short. And the idea is just brilliant. Instead of having the AI just guess what a dramatic reveal shot should look like, it searches a massive library of 440,000 real movie clips to learn from the best filmmakers in history. It's basically like sending the AI to film school, but it gets its degree in a nanosecond.
Let's use an actual example from our Dystopia script to see how this works. The script describes a bouncing ball of wind that falls into a volcano and turns into this giant lava serpent. A simple prompt would just completely fail at this. But with RAG, the AI gets the narrative goal. It finds examples of other creature transformations from its film library, and then it plans a sequence of shots, a wide shot, a zoom in, close up, to build tension and actually tell the story. Now that is thinking like a director. Of course, the other big part of a director's job is making sure everything stays consistent. Our dystopian titan is described as having bones made of purple crystals. We needed to have the exact same purple crystal bones in every single shot, right? That's where something called a consistency lock comes in. It's basically a set of rules that freezes those core elements, the character's look, the lighting, the art style, to make sure nothing drifts from one clip to the next.
Okay, so our AI director has generated a whole bunch of consistent, cinematically planned shots, but that's just the rough cut. Now we need to give the AI an editor's sense of timing, of pacing, of rhythm.
Now, this is where it gets really, really interesting. Some of these advanced systems can use what's called a simulated audience feedback loop. The AI puts together a rough cut of a scene, and then a separate AI, acting like a specific kind of audience member, actually watches it. It checks the pacing, sees if it's engaging, and then gives feedback. And then, the system automatically re-edits the scene based on those notes to create a way stronger final cut.
And check this out. This slide shows a perfect real-world example. Let's say we have a persona card for a short drama viewer who likes things to be super punchy and quick. They watch the rough cut of the big final battle and their feedback is, hey, this starts way too slow. Get to the action. So the AI editor takes that note and bam, it automatically trims the opening shot down to just 3 seconds. It's literally simulating the entire creative editing process.
All right, we have our director and our editor. Now it's time for the final, absolutely crucial layers that turn a bunch of silent clips into a full-blown cinematic experience. Sound, music, and a final product you can actually work with.
A truly advanced system isn't just going to slap a music track on top and call it a day. It uses a multi-layered approach to sound. You've got the scene-level score and ambience, then the shot-level voiceover, and most importantly, the tiny intra-shot sound effects, the Foley. We're talking about the thud of the Titan's footsteps, or the specific grinding sound of its crystal bones. It's that deep sonic texture that makes a world feel real and immersive.
So let's just bring this all together. This table really sums up the giant leap from the consumer tools we have today to the ideal AI filmmaking system we're talking about. It's the difference between low, shot-level control and high, scene-level control. It's moving from a focus on just novelty to a focus on real cinematic rhythm and continuity. And maybe the most important part of all, the output isn't a flat, unchangeable MP4 file, it's a fully editable timeline, something a human artist can actually open up, tweak, and collaborate with.
And that leaves us with the final and most critical question. We've just laid out a blueprint for a system that can direct, edit, and even score a film based on a script. So as these tools get more and more powerful, as they start to truly master the language of cinema, the question isn't, can AI do this anymore? The question is, what does this all mean for us? What is the new role for the human storyteller, for the director, for the editor, in a world where the Dystopia Engine is real?